Welcome to Module 3, Lesson 1, Voice and Choice. In this lesson, we will define choice boards and understand their use within the classroom, highlight their benefits, identify different types of choice boards, look at different templates that are available for you to use in the other resources section of this module, as well as discover ways to manage student work. Before we go farther, it's important that we understand what choice boards truly are. Choice boards can be digital, such as interactive slides, or they can be as simple as a sheet of paper that host a variety of learning activities that give students the opportunity to choose how they're going to interact with their learning or demonstrate their mastery of a standard. You may be asking yourself, why do I need to bring choice boards to my classroom? Well, let's look at some of the benefits and drawbacks. Before we invest the extra time and effort of implementing something new, we want to know what kind of equity it will bring to our classroom. There are many benefits that accompany student choice in the classroom. The student autonomy that comes along with this instructional approach is incredible. Students all of a sudden take ownership of their learning when they are made to feel like they are an equal partner in the process. Next, students are allowed to be somewhat self paced in this process. If they finish early, there are always extra options that they can work on. However, if you have a student that's struggling, they can also take extra time with the task that they're struggling on and then make that up somewhere else in the week. Typically, students are given a week to complete the predetermined number of tasks from a choice board. Therefore, they have longer than a set class period to have everything completed. Also, the learning process is student driven. We can all remember from our time as students those activities that we absolutely dreaded, and also the types of activities that we loved and got excited about. With choice boards, you can present a wide array of learning platforms and activities, which allow students the freedom to appease their learning style, resulting in increased engagement. Differentiation is extremely manageable. Teachers are able to provide varying levels of difficulty in the activities listed on the board without drawing unneeded attention to unbalanced ability levels that are within the class. Finally, when students are engaged in choice boards, this creates a prime opportunity for the teacher to pull small groups to work explicitly on targeted skills. Since all students are already working on different things, no student feels behind after leaving the small group and they don't feel that rush to get caught up. As with all good things, there are also minimal drawbacks to choice boards. There is increased prep time on the front end. As any good teacher knows, all good things come with extra planning. The good news is, once you get a template and a system in order, your choice board will only require a little tweaking from week to week. Organization is key when using this tool. You must have a developed system in place so that you and your students know what should be happening at any given time. What will students do if they get stuck? Where will they find their choice board? How will they turn in their work? These are all questions you should have the answers for before you and your students embark on this journey. Finally, choice boards take time to implement. Scaffolding is key in implementation. Start small. Have your students choose one of three proposed activities to complete. Take note of obstacles you encounter and build from there. Remember, pitfalls are avoidable if you know how to navigate around them. Types of choice boards. It is important to realize not all choice boards serve the same purpose, yet there is a choice board for any purpose you may have. When developing your choice board, you must define your purpose. Do I want my students to learn or do I want my students to perform? Learning boards are used to provide students with a variety of tools and platforms to practice their skills. On any given day, I may tell my class that we're going to do a Kahoot, and I would automatically be greeted with groans from one half of the room and excitement from the other half. You've heard that old saying, you can't make everyone happy. Well, I'm sure whoever came up with that saying was probably a teacher. But the good news is choice boards solve this problem. With a choice board, I'm able to link a Kahoot as well as a quizzes activity, and instantly I have made everyone in my classroom happy because they can choose what they like the most. Also, differentiation is easily disguisable by creating below, on, and above level choice boards and then assigning them to the appropriate students through Google Classroom. Since everyone is already working on something different, no one notices that the activities vary in ability level. Finally, learning choice boards can accommodate all learning styles. You can offer an activity for everyone, and your students have control of choosing to do what best fits them. When using learning choice boards, think along the lines of formative assessment. You are gauging students' sense of mastery based on practice. Many of the learning platforms used for these types of boards, such as No Red Ink, iExcel, iReady, Read Theory, they all collect great data points for you to monitor student performance, which you can use to guide your instruction. Now, performance choice boards are the second type of choice board. These boards allow students to choose how they want to demonstrate their learning. Think about how powerful that word demonstrate is. They are not simply clicking a multiple choice answer, but they are literally climbing Bloom's taxonomy, reaching those higher level thinking strategies. Rather than rote memorization, students are able to design, evaluate, analyze, and create authentic artifacts that exemplifies their knowledge and learning. These performance pieces are rubric based, but be careful not to allow a rigid rubric to stifle a student's creativity. Performance choice boards serve as your summative assessment, the final measure of growth of your students through a series of learning sessions. True learning is achieved through memorable classroom experiences. Performance choice board experiences serve as that culmination of the learning process. When we involve students in the learning process rather than just allow them to partake in it, we are evolving the engagement of our classroom. According to Philip Schlechty's levels of engagement, with most traditional classroom practices, we find many instances of the bottom three levels: ritual compliance, retreatism, and rebellion. By allowing student choice, students are committed and highly attentive because they are vested by a sense of ownership. It is only when we foster that sense of value and ownership that we achieve highly engaged classrooms. Now, going back to those different types of learning boards, this is an example of one of the learning boards. This is the tic tac toe learning board. And this is an assembly of activities on different platforms. You can see here different platforms that you can use for learning boards: Kahoot, No Red Ink, Pixton, Flipgrid, Pear Deck, Edpuzzle, Quizzes. You can provide students with different types of learning experiences that fit their preference. And then you would just hyperlink these websites to this tic tac toe board, and then they would strive to achieve a three in a row status. This is an example of a performance choice board, and this is the popular theme of Fortnite. And this is actually linked in the other resources component, so you can actually use this template. But in this template, you have different activities where students can make artifacts to prove their learning. They can create a Powtoon video. They can record a Flipgrid demonstration. They can design a poster. They can make a comic strip. Anything that can demonstrate the learning of that standard in any way that they choose to creatively do so. Now, going back to our mention of different learning styles, it's important on both learning and performance choice boards that we integrate in offline and online activities because even though we're in a digital school format right now for most of us, that doesn't necessarily mean that all of our students thrive in that environment. So we need to make sure to provide those offline activities as well to match those students' needs. If you are new to the concept of choice boards, the process can seem overwhelming. You may be asking yourself, where do I start? Number one, determine your goal. All of your activities should be built around the standards you will be assessing. Also, think ahead to what your summative assessment will look like. It is important that your learning activities require similar analysis and understanding that your assessments will require students to provide. Number two, mixed modalities. When constructing these boards, it is important that you create a balanced blend. You should design experiences to satisfy the needs of all learners. As we just mentioned, you should also provide both online and offline experiences. This can provide a much needed break from the screen as well as involve families in their students' learning. Number three, remember the three R's: reduce, reuse, and recycle. When creating templates, streamline the process. Don't fall down the rabbit hole of design. Basic design is as educationally effective as a graphic work of art. Develop a structure that can be recycled through different units of study so that you don't have to reinvent the wheel every couple of weeks. Tweak existing boards with new content. You could add one new tool each week while keeping those existing tools as a sense of security for students. Remember, work smarter, not harder. Be sure to check out the bonus video in this lesson to see some examples of choice boards and how they can be implemented into your classroom. The final piece of the choice board puzzle is deciding how you're going to curate your student work. Since kids are doing different activities at different times, it can be a challenge on how to collect their work. So, there are a variety of different ways that you can approach this. There are options with Wakelet, Google Sites, Seesaw, and just traditional screenshots and attaching those to an email or to a Google Classroom activity. Here are some examples. This is an example with Google Sites. Students can create their own sites. Google Sites, you can create those for free. So the student can create their own site and it serves as a student portfolio. And over here in the Insert toolbox, you will see they have the option to insert an image, which is where you can utilize those traditional screenshots. Or you can actually pull an artifact from Drive, and that goes to those performance choice boards as well. So then we have Wakelet. Now, Wakelet is probably more of an option for your older students. We're talking middle school and high school. Wakelet is very similar to Pinterest in that you post things. So students can take each of the activities they do and post a little snapshot of those in their Wakelet. And then they could attach that link to a Google Classroom assignment and turn that in. And then the teacher would click on that link and actually be able to view their work. And then the easiest way to keep up with this work, you can actually go into your Google Classroom assignment. So you could create an assignment for each of your choice board activities. You click into that assignment and you can grab this personalized URL for that assignment and actually copy that and hyperlink it to your choice board so that when the student clicks on that activity to complete it, it takes them to that Google Classroom assignment, and once they're finished, they'll turn that in traditionally like they would any other assignment. Now, let me leave you with this. New things can be challenging and they can be overwhelming, but just remember big things often have small beginnings.